Hello everyone and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I am your host, Stan Rattan, and this is the Blue Collar Wine Show where I help you spend your wine dollars wisely. We're continuing with the theme of Oregon Wine Month, what is May. I only did 2 episodes. It's Memorial Day. By the way, happy Memorial Day everyone. I hope you're having a good day off. I have to work because of where I live. It's a busy place, and I work in a tourist destination spot where the department is very busy this time of year, so you don't get to really take that day off. Although my assistant's going down to see a Mariners game, I hope he has a good time down there. We're going to talk about Willamette Valley Vineyards. Now that's a cool way to end. You know, if we did King Estate, now we're doing Willamette Valley Vineyard. You know, Oregon is very well known for their Pinot Noir. They have become world famous for their Pinot Noir. They try to be as Burgundy as they can be in the New World, and a lot of them hit that level. But, you know, a lot of them, of course, have more fruit than most of the Burgundies because it's in the New World, a little more, you know, sunshine, that sort of thing. This is Jim Bernal's winery. He established it in 1983. He cleared a plum field and started planting vineyards in this old plum field. And I guess he couldn't afford drip irrigation, so he hooked a whole bunch of garden hoses together to get the vines through the first summer. That's pretty cool. So he's a very dedicated person. Evidently, he got some Welch's grape juice out of his mom's freezer or whatever and fermented that. So the guy, you know, very, very creative person. He went to UC Davis, and then he went and finished off, did some schooling in Beaune, France. So he has some experience in the wine world. They're also one of the few wineries that are on the NASDAQ. So they have 19,000 owners. I looked on their website. You can't get any stock right now. There's a waiting list. So pretty interesting. He feels like it's good to have community involved in his winery. Of course, it infuses money in it as well. Willamette Valley Vineyards, or we say WVV, is sustainably farmed. Jim is very concerned about the earth and keeping everything, you know, healthy as far as the environment goes. He's one of the key people to start a group called LIVE, which is Low Input Viticulture and Enology. So basically not impacting the earth, and that's a good thing. As we said, King Estates is the same way. So that's very cool. So we're going to look at 4 of their wines. Now we're going to include a rosé in this one. I tried to do a little different than what we did with King Estates. We're going to start out with the 2018 Willamette Valley Vineyards Dijon Clone Chardonnay, Willamette Valley, Oregon. This rolls in at $26. Interesting, on their website, which I'll give you a link to that, all their wines are about $1 cheaper than I sell them at the store. They're not always that way, really, but they are. Probably because they're in the NASDAQ, they're on the stock market, who knows. But, you know, $26, I've struggled with Oregon Chardonnay for a long time. A lot of them I didn't like, but in the last 5 to 8 years, they've become a lot better. So, very golden. This is kind of a, I guess, not super golden, but hay gold, I guess is the best way to describe that. Okay, let's see what we get on those. Definitely a little bit of butter coming through on this one. I guess when they got the Dijon clone, Jim and some officials from Oregon went over to Burgundy and acquired these clones. They wanted to put them into the valley, into the Willamette Valley. They quarantined them for a while, and then a lot of the wineries in the Willamette Valley used the Dijon clone from Burgundy. Pear notes, definitely. Pear, spice, a little bit of baking spice and butter. Let's see if we get on the palate. Nice and fresh. This is not for the buttery Chardonnay drinker. It has some oak on it for sure. There's a fig component, a little bit of pear. You get the oak element, but it's not overpowering. There's a touch of butter and just a hint of baking spice. Good balance. This is one of those Chardonnays. Well, a little bit of butter, a little bit of oak. If you like a little bit of oak on your wine, it's good. What I like about this wine is sometimes when you get that kind of oak characteristic with the pear and the butter, it can be kind of disjointed. This not so much. I like that fig component that sneaks in there a little bit. Not my favorite style of Chardonnay, but I'm definitely going to go B on that. It has good balance, good integration, just not my style. I don't like the oak intrusion there a little bit. Seems a little bit off, but it's okay. It's still a very good Chardonnay. I'm going to go B on that. Let's move on. So now we're going to go to the 2020 Willamette Valley Vineyards Whole Cluster Rosé of Pinot Noir, Willamette Valley, Oregon. Now they do this whole cluster thing where they carbonic maceration. So they seal it in the stainless steel tank. They use CO2 to get all the oxygen out, and then they let the berries burst inside this sealed stainless steel tank. This is probably Saunier method, meaning they bleed off of the juice that they make their Pinot Noir with. This rolls in at $25. Very, very pinkish, pink color. Very pink. Yeah, I'm just going to go with a very, very light pink. Huh, good. Let's see what we get on the nose. Ooh, I get watermelon right off the bat. Watermelon, a little bit of herbal component coming through. Some cherries as well. Strawberry, cherry, watermelon. But just a kiss, just a slight kiss of herbs. Maybe just a tiny hit of bubblegum too, which is very common in newer rosé. Let's see what we get on the palate. Nice and fresh, clean rosé. I love the herbal component that gets kind of on the side of your mouth, but definitely watermelon, strawberry, and a kiss of cherry coming through. Now I'm pretty sure I have this at the store, and I think it's a little cheaper than that. Just saying. I think when you buy cases of something, you know, it gets it down in price. This is just a really good rosé. It's light-bodied, good flavors, but fresh, which is what a lot of you rosé drinkers like. You know, you like the color. It's lighter. A lot of people get all worked up about the color. Just to say, Tavel Rosé, some of my favorite, is very dark. So don't always let that color thing turn you away from a rosé. This is a good color though for those rosé lovers that like a lighter style rosé. Good flavors, good acidity, nice and fresh, good balance. I'm going to go A- on that. I think that's a solid rosé. Nice. The flavor is letting you get that strawberry cherry thing on the back end of this. It's really good rosé. I love rosé, and that's a solid rosé. Chardonnay, just not my style. I think the oak was a little bit off on that, in my opinion. So there you go. Now, do I do Pinot Noir or Riesling next? Well, we're going to do Pinot Noir. I think there's a scale on the back of the Riesling that says medium sweet, so we'll see about that. Okay, so this is their, I guess flagship Pinot Noir. I would say probably it's the one that they've rolled with for a long time. And I think that I've had this at the store for a long time, and I'm excited to try this. The 2019 Willamette Valley Vineyards Estate Pinot Noir, and I believe this is the vines that he cleared the plum field for. $25. $25, guys, at the store. I think online they have it for $24. There you go. Very cool. Okay, excited to try this wine. Pinot Noir, of course, is never super dark. This is red to dark crimson, I guess would be what you'd say. Yeah, lighter, you can see through it. You get the idea. What you'd expect from a Pinot Noir. Let's see what we get on those. Get a little caramel on this one. I get cherries. A little bit of root beer. Really dark, sweet cherries on the nose with a little bit of root beer on the side. And I think the caramel kind of was the initial hit, but that's gone away. I'm getting a little bit of a spice action too, as well. That's superfluous. Well, black tea also. Let's get on the palate. Solid Pinot Noir. Good texture in the mouth. I get cherries, a touch of strawberry, a little bit of root beer coming through. Like I said, real intense, but at the same time nicely integrated and not over the top. That black tea comes through, and just a tiny, tiny kiss of tobacco as well. I like this Pinot Noir. Good balance. It really strikes a nice, what am I trying to say? It reminds you a little bit of a Burgundy, a little bit of New World Pinot Noir, but boy, it is solid Pinot Noir for those who really like their Pinots in the more Old World style, but it still has a little bit of that, a big kiss of New World on it. Get a little cherry skin on the mid palate. It expands a little bit on the mid palate. Then it kind of morphs into this, you know, black tea tobacco thing, which is really, really cool. I like it. A little bit of beauty bark as well on the very end of this wine. Good complexity, solid Pinot Noir. I think it's a really super good price. 25 bucks for a Willamette Valley Pinot Noir. 2019. I'm gonna go A- on that. I get a sweet tart action too, right at the beginning of the mid palate when you suck that oxygen through there. Always good to give it a little bit of oxygen in your mouth. That's a good thing. Practice that so it becomes natural for you. I used to feel kind of odd doing it, and then now I just do it all the time. So just practice that, sucking a little air through it. That gets you the most out of the wine, and that's what I want you to get out of your wine, is the most out of the wine. Without doing that, if you just slug it down, you're going to miss all those little nuances that I'm getting out of it. So, now you may not get exactly what I get, but yeah, just put it in your mouth and suck a little oxygen through it, and that'll really give you a better experience in your wine drinking. Yeah, even a little touch of Asian spice. Very, very cool. Love that. Pinot Noir, A-. I like this shit. This is working out pretty good. Okay, we're going to give it a little rinse. I hope I did this right. I don't know how sweet this is, but let's give it a whirl. So, you know, there's a few Oregon wineries that do Riesling. I'm a big Riesling fan. I like it a lot. I don't get all too geeky about it. This is very pale straw color. You can see that. So, this is the 2019 Willamette Valley Vineyards Willamette Valley Oregon Riesling. It rolls in at $15. Label. How many of you out there kind of get into Riesling? I mean, I have a lot of my wine friends. They're all geeked up about it. I'm thinking about doing a Riesling class. I have some really old Riesling, so it'd be kind of fun to do that. But how do you feel about Riesling? Is it something that you've kind of gotten away from because, you know, you maybe had a bad experience with some sweet Riesling, or maybe you had a bad experience with some really dry Riesling that had all that rubber boot action on it. Yeah, let me know in the comments. How do you feel about Riesling and in your wine drinking adventures? Let's see what we get on those. You can smell the sweetness on this. I hope I did this right. I get kind of a sweet apple and just a kiss of pear. Yeah, more like in the Asian pear category. A little lighter, not like a Bartlett pear or one of those, just more like an Asian pear. With a little bit of apple coming through. Let's see what we get on the palate. So this is, like I said, medium sweet. Great Asian noodle Riesling. But what I like about this Riesling the most, believe it or not, is it has a little bit of that rubber boot. I call it red rubber boot. Some guys call it petrol. But to me, it's like a rubber boot. I think I bit into a rubber boot too many times when I was a kid. I don't know. Maybe. But it has a little bit of that rubber boot component. And it's on the sweeter side. It's not a dry Riesling at all. But it has good complexity. I like the pear and apple notes that come through on the. They're hanging. They're hanging, guys. This has a long finish. Not just the sweetness, just the pear and apple, and predominantly pear. This is what I call a dangerous Riesling. Now, cool thing, just now, I got a little bit of apricot and tangerine, and maybe a touch of peach on the back side of this one, which is really cool. So by sucking that oxygen through the wine, it created this potpourri of flavors that really came through on the finish that you may not experience. This is a really, really good Riesling because it has that, it finishes a little drier than the initial attack up front and in the mid palate. Rubber boot, fruit medley, a little linear on the acidity too. Very, very quality Riesling here, guys. Just saying. I know Domaine Saint Michel dominates the Riesling category. Trust me, they make a ton of Riesling there. And we sell a lot at the store. But bring this baby in. I think it's a solid, good, crisp, solid linear. I'm going to go A on that. For a Riesling, I'm going to go A. Straight up A. It's a 10 in the delicious category. Good acidity, good flavors, very linear. Some sweetness up front, but then finishes with that kind of fresh Christmas linear potpourri of tangerine and peach and those flavors. I love it. There you go, Willamette Valley Vineyards, finishing off Oregon Wine Month with 2 reviews of Oregon wines. King Estates now, Willamette Valley Vineyards, very solid wineries. They do a good job. Thanks for taking a little time out of your day. I really appreciate your support. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If you like what you're seeing, pass it on to your friends. Tell them about this show. You keep watching, and I'll keep helping you spend your wine dollars wisely.